When I was a 4-year-old boy, standing in the dusty front yard of my family's home near Portland, Maine, my family was back in the house doing their usual thing, yelling, screaming, throwing stuff at each other. Sometimes my closest sibling, my older sister Casey, would talk with me in the yard, so I didn't notice so much of what was going on. But on this particular hot summer day, when the air was still and quiet, I was alone out there, and suddenly I heard a bottle smash into the wall, and my mother screaming at my father, "You drunk, cheap bastard!" Even though I was too young to know the word epiphany, I got my first one that day. It occurred to me, there must be more to life than this. Every day through my childhood, people saw me as shy. I just didn't want to talk to people. I was always afraid my sadness would somehow leak out onto them. We were years away from when popular culture would start talking about depression. All I knew was that I felt the literal weight of my pudgy body, which was nearly as bad as the shame from the kids, what they called me, the way they looked at me. So for me, surviving childhood was a full-time job. Then, one day, everything changed. I was 19 years old. It was Thanksgiving break, and I was at college when I got the call from my mother. "Your sister's dead." Casey had jumped off the Coronado Bridge and finally succeeded in killing herself. After that, I soaked in, pickled in all the usual stuff that happens around a suicide: blame, grief, anger, alcohol. Thoughts like, what if I had done what mom told me and just written to Casey to tell her I love her? What if mom hadn't called the cops that day and had Casey admitted to the psych ward? She never forgave us for that. What if we had actually gotten her into a rehab sooner? Over the next few years, came out of college, I managed to lose some of the physical fat, yet somehow I kept feeling heavier and heavier. Twice, I nearly died in auto accidents. My own drinking and drugging got darker and darker. Then, out of nowhere, something immense that changed my life forever. Even though I'd grown up agnostic at best, just out of fear, like maybe just in case, I was like opposed to religion. Yet, everything changed when God, which was not a word I could have used then, God reached down, grabbed me by the hair. There was a lot more of it on my head at that point. Grabbed me by the hair, lifted me up, and said, "Dude, there's a lot more to the world than you've been seeing." It was a phenomenal experience. Wonderful. Amazing. I tasted oneness and human potential, experienced a bliss that I had never even known was possible. And it was horrible. I did not understand what was going on. I didn't know how to communicate it. I certainly didn't know how to live it. And in an instant, my whole past, my whole previous worldview was gone, blown up. Worse, I thought I was going crazy. I thought somehow I was cursed and destined to follow in Casey's footsteps. However, when my feet finally came back down to the ground, I realized, I didn't have these words, but I realized I need a new education, a new way of being. So I moved to Omega Institute, a center for holistic studies. I began my obsession with personal and spiritual development. That was 30 years ago. For the first 10 years, that's all I did, traveling around the world, right? From centers to universities to ashrams to gurus, certification course this, teacher training that. Right? It became natural for me to be teaching and coaching and sharing with other people. And that obsession is still part of what drives me. Here's the thing. Casey's suicide taught me, it drove me, it inspires me still. It's my mission. I'm on a mission to create freedom, love, and vibrancy for me, for her, for all of us. Right? From my 4-year-old epiphany, there's got to be more to life than this. Right? To God's divine whack upside my head, there's more to the world than you've been seeing. The art of vibrant living means tapping into our birthright to create anything and everything that we desire. So even though Casey never got there, every time one of my clients, students creates a miracle, breakthroughs, I feel like somehow they're doing that. We're doing that for Casey, that we honor her and that she lives through us. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. I love you. I appreciate you. And may you continue to create anything and everything you desire.